Good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a lovely day so far. Today, we'll be doing a little bit of something different, and we'll be filming on the computer instead of on the Xbox like normal. And what we'll be playing today is Admiral Dreadnoughts. Now, it's a game that hello, Neef. Mwah. It's a game that I've wanted to film a video on for the longest of times. It's basically a game where you design battleships and fight against other battleships or fight against other designs. There's a career mode in it, or like a campaign mode, sorry, where you are going through. It's all based in World War II, so you can control a faction in the Second World War. And today, what I'll be doing is with other content creators, they have their own little competition going on called the Taskmaster competition. And I've always watched it and always wanted to get involved. So I thought, like, what better way than to film it and put it up on YouTube for all to see. And the Taskmaster challenge is to sink the Yamato. Yamato is the largest battleship ever made, and this is the design of the Yamato that we're going with. It's the exact same one what the other content creators have been using, except I've just added more guns and made the armor a little bit more modern because there's so many more updates since when they did it 6 months ago. I thought, why not? So that is theirs, and now the challenge is simply to design a ship that doesn't cost more than that, with the same technology, that can sink it. So I'm just trying to figure out how to bring back the HUD. There we go. And now we go over to my side. So then this is my side. So I selected being with the British because I'm British. And now it's about designing a ship that can beat the Yamato. And this should be fun. So yeah, the Yamato, large battleship ever made, 18-inch guns. I mean, they when it was sunk by the Americans, they sent more aircraft after the Yamato than the Japanese sent aircraft to Pearl Harbor. Yeah, it was like something over 400 planes were sent to fight the Yamato, whereas there was only 350 planes at Pearl Harbor. I'm trying to think how to go, because a lot of them go battle cruisers and things like that. I don't want to I can't win a gunfight against the Yamato. I mean, obviously I could, but it would just, or I could try and build a ship that could, but it'd just be difficult. I think the only way to beat the Yamato is with torpedoes, because that's how it's sunk in real life. Even though it took loads before it actually did eventually start to sink. What I'm thinking is, if I've got any ship nerds with me, I'm thinking of doing like a Richelieu Jean Bar style of ship, where they had all their main guns at the front. Something like this. And then I go here, big barbette. Oh, it's even smaller. So the Yamato, to put in perspective of how difficult this would be in real life, is the Bismarck's one of the most famous ships ever. Bismarck was, I think, 50,000 tons, just under or just over. And Yamato was 70. But this is, so the Richelieu is a ship which has all the guns on the front, kind of like what I'm going for. I'm going for this, and I am convinced that this is how you beat the Yamato. Put in loads of guns on the front and loads of torpedoes on the back, and then just quite simply hopefully hitting it enough to destroy its engines, and yeah, after that sink up the torpedoes that you got. I'm just trying to go for like this bit's the easy part. That's why I'm doing it so quick. Making the layout of the ship is very satisfying, but it's also probably the easiest part to do, because well, it's just when you know what ships look like, they're only so different that they can be. See, this is what I'm after now. The torpedoes. This is what's going to sink it. YAMATO does have 18 inches of belt armor, so it's not going to be that 20 torpedoes either side. So it's not going to be super easy. But I'm convinced. Can I put another barbette there? No, it doesn't fit. Can I put a small one? Yeah. Can I go and fit there? Obviously this is won't have much of an effect, but at least it'll look more aesthetically pleasing. Okay, that looks horrid. Right. When the other channels were doing the Taskmaster, every single sort of time they did it, the only rule they really had was it couldn't be more expensive than the YAMATO. If we go here, it's just under $1 billion. It's 971 million it costs, which the YAMATO in real life costs 250 million yen. It's sad that I know that. but yeah, so as you can see, I've got quite a lot of funds to play around with. You alright, Nave? Alright. Don't mind you, eh? You want to play for me? Good girl. Yes, I don't need range because it's an arcade game. What do you want, Nave? You just want attention, bless your heart. But what I'm going to be going for is essentially speed and torpedoes to sink the YAMATO, because the YAMATO, even though it's massive, goes 30 knots, which is, I think, around like 41 miles an hour. And yeah, so 40 knots is sort of the speed that I'm going to have to go for minimum, because if it's just a few knots faster, then I'm going to be in shooting range for the longest of time. So I need 40 knots, I need brand new engines. Yeah, darling. What are you sniffing the camera for? You're proper needy, aren't you? What do you want? Good girl. Yeah, I do have more weight to play around with, but I think all the weight's going to go into technology and stuff. I need good barbettes. So barbettes are... Let me just put... Barbettes are these here. And obviously the stronger they are, the less chance they have of blowing up. So I'm just anti-flooding. I want a citadel in there. All or nothing, I think would be the best for this sort of layout of ship. What to do? Right, so how's that all looking? I think that's looking good. TNT. Base. Nice, it's looking good. And then veteran, yeah. So at the moment, good old Raz Grease. We've got a 40 knot battle cruiser with 18-inch guns and 40 24-inch torpedo tubes. It's nice that. And now let's sort out the armour. So armour, YAMATO says 18 inches of armour. If I try to put that on there, I'm overweight already. Just can't do it. I'm gonna have to go like 60 inches, and then 5, 7.5. I'm not going to be able, I need to shed more weight, I think. I'm just putting in numbers. There we go. Turret armor, that needs to be 18. That needs to be like 8. I'll bet 16. Yeah, the arm is just proper send this ship over, and I don't know what else there is I can do to make it weigh less. And it's torpedo. I think that's going to be it. Bang. There we go. So this is the design I'm going for. And now that it's done, and I rushed through that, I'll explain all the sort of bits to you. So, hello again. So if we go over to the Yamato side, the Yamato was known for having super thick armour and super big guns. So in real life she had the biggest guns ever put on any ship, which were 18.1 or 18.3 inches. That's the diameter of the shell that it would shoot. So, and then the armour was, it's like 22 inches, something ridiculous like that. So when it comes to a gunfight, this ship was built to destroy other battleships. It was meant to be a battleship killer, because the Japanese went into the war with the ideology of battleships versus battleships, just like World War One, of the Battle of Jutland and things like that, where aircraft carriers didn't really exist. Whereas aircraft carriers essentially ruled the ocean. They didn't rule the Atlantic. That's why you don't get, like the Germans didn't make any aircraft carriers, because you've got mainland Europe next to United Kingdom. See, if you control France, which they did, then you can just use France air bases. You don't need an aircraft carrier. Whereas something as vast as the Pacific, you might need an aircraft carrier, because there's only so many islands in such large ocean. So in that sense, having a ship like the Yamato on the German side would have been a great thing. It would have been great for them, because there was nothing that the English had that could compare to it. Nothing that the Germans really had that can compare to the Yamato. Just because of its sheer size and the firepower. But going against the Americans when they just started making aircraft carrier after aircraft carriers, yeah, when this ship went to war, they sent more planes after this single ship and its escorts than, as I said earlier, than the Japanese sent to Pearl Harbor. Nath, no. Yeah. So when it comes to having a gunfight with a ship like that, it's not really the best of ideas to do. So that's why this whole design is essentially around trying to get close and torpedo it. I've put massive guns at the front because I'm only going to be able to do damage to the ship with massive guns, because it's a massive ship. Hopefully enough to just slow it down that little bit more, just so I can circle it and torpedo it. That's the plan. And then when it comes to these components here, I'm like almost half the weight of the ship of the Yamato, but I still think this will work. Yeah, so this game you select what components are used in your engines and things like that. Radar, etc. This is a really detailed game. I really do like Admiral Dreadnoughts. What is, and then if I go over here, I'm intrigued to see what the chances of. Gives you like a flash. Okay, 9.6. I'm not going to burst into flames. Cool. I think we're ready. So 16 minutes of 16 minutes of waffling. I think now I'm 2/3 of the price of how much the Yamato is. So let's go. One battle cruiser versus one battleship. So this is the game. Let me close all these so you can see a little bit better. It's a really beautiful game. And apparently there was smoke spotted to the north. I think that green arrow indicates where the smoke was, so let's turn up time and go hunting for a Yamato. Camera's shaking because his nose butt in the camera. So here we are. All that distance. And there's the Yamato coming towards me. Yeah, in real life there was no ship that could compete in a gunfight with the Yamato. It was built for that. It's crazy as well because when it was actually built, the to hide it from the Americans, they built a warehouse over it, and like over the whole dockyard. And the Americans guessed that they were making a ship, and they only calculated it to be like up to 50,000 tons or something like that, when Yamato weighed 72,000 tons. So it was obviously completely different, but I've already hit her. Already hit Yamato, which isn't bad at all. It's quite nice. I think as well, the setup that this Taskmaster has actually has the Yamato having better radar than what I put on. So I got really lucky that I hit it. And also, when you hit a ship, it means that the camera, not your camera. Alright, Nate. It means that the guns are already dialed in, know the range that you're shooting at. It makes it so it's easier to hit over and over again. So landing the first shot is so vital. I mean, I'm literally just storming towards this. The cool thing about having all your guns on the front like this is that that's all the Yamato sees, because I'm going straight towards her. And the Yamato, to get all of her guns on me, has to go sideways, because obviously it's got the guns at the back as well. I'm really hammering her. I don't think this is going to last it. Yeah, so the French did it with their battleships because not only did it save weight, but it also gave it a smaller silhouette that can be hit. And obviously saving weight means speed, so the Richelieu and the Jean Bart, two battleships that they did it with, were much quicker than most of their counterparts. Wow, I don't think, have they hit me yet? Hit me 4 times out of 96. This is not looking good. At the moment, what are they? I haven't even identified the ship yet, apparently. Obviously we know what it is because we designed the game, but these guys don't know what it is. All it takes is one shot though that can obviously kill me. it lands in the right spot, but at the moment it doesn't really seem like that's going to happen. And there's flood in there, so that blue bar indicates how their flooding situation, and then the red is their structural situation. So as you can see with mine, they've done nothing. What's the identify percent at? 95. I'm intrigued to see what they're... Oh, they've just hit me. Wow, they're really struggling. Right now, oh, they're taking out my runner, so I can't turn as aggressively as I want to. So this is a little bit of a dangerous spot to be in. But here, now I'm really opening up my body, so it's a bit dangerous. It means that it's much easier for them to penetrate my armor. Look, there's all the torpedoes in the water. There's loads there. I think this is going to be quick. Yamato's anti-flooding though is ridiculous, so I won't be surprised if that actually doesn't even sink it. Because she was hit with more torpedoes than that in real life. I can't steer. My ship's rudder's been... Right, let's back down. So actually, let's play the long game. Let's turn around and get the other torpedoes in action. I really don't want to lose this lead that I've got. Is getting hammered. And now it can't hit me because of the fact that it's listing so much. So listing is when it starts to bank, as you can see here, because of the water. It says angle, 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 angle. It's struggling to I don't think it can hit me anymore. 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. I think the torpedoes did it. Two, one. Just sent out more as well. How long is it going to stay in 0.1? Just clinging on. Oh my god, it's actually settling on 0.1. Oh, but here comes, this is going to be the one to finish it all. Wash, sinking, there we go. I've just turned off the HUD now because it'll close the game, and I do think that the sink-ins in this game are very underrated. They're pretty gnarly to watch. Let's get like nice. Look over at R1's storming over. So the crazy thing is, like, ships can take hours to sink. We're not going to sit here and watch for hours. I think that was the incredibly quick Taskmaster. That was, it was like the 20-minute mark, if that. That was obviously with speeding up time. Yeah, wow. But yeah, there's loads of like when you think of a ship, you think of like, oh, it capsizes, sinks, like it's impossible to get out. But even like the Titanic, I think it took like 3 hours to sink or something ridiculous like that. Taking a toy off the dog so it doesn't eat it. Yeah, it can take hours. What makes it so that it's so easy to lose life when it comes to even slow sinking is because like, where'd you go? Like, let's say this happened, this was a real scenario, like where would you go? Like, and now you've got an enemy ship storming around. I mean, a lot of the time you've got to hope that they pick you up, because that's what they did. Like a lot of the time, enemy ships would pick up survivors from shipwrecks because it's just like the humane thing to do. There was not a lot of that going on in the Pacific with the Japanese and the Americans. They didn't like each other too much, but during the Pacific, no, in the Atlantic, sorry, it happened. It happened quite a lot. Yeah, but we won't stay here and watch it the whole way because unless it lets me speed it up, which I don't know if it will. Yeah, no. Now that the game's over, it won't let me go on the control menu. But if we look here, result: crew lost 1,420. Wow, that was super quick. I was expecting it to be more difficult than that. Tell you what, we'll do something else. Can't have it just like that. There's nothing of that. Yeah, wow. Well, what we'll do is we'll revisit that, I think. Yeah. I think I just got lucky. Where my first shells just landed well, and that was it. It was all downhill from there. But yeah, we moved. I feel like a little bit. I anticipated more, but I do know one of the people who did it. They near enough sunk it straight away. There was like a 1.09% chance of having a flash fire, and it happened, and he sunk the ship almost immediately. So it's not just me. Sometimes this game can make you a little bit lucky. But that'll be that for this evening. We will revisit this. This will be the next one I upload as well. So I do plan of hunting the Bismarck, again another famous ship. So and then after that, I don't know, because they're meant to be the two sort of villainy ships of the war, Bismarck and the Yamato. You might have to go with like the Italian ship, like the Julio Cesar or something, but we'll see. Either way, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and have a lovely evening.